you guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're doing very nice and I'm sending a lot of hugs and positivity to all of you. Hi, if you're new, welcome to the channel. I really hope you enjoy the content, and if you do, please do consider subscribing. My throat has been wobbly since quite a few days. At this point, it keeps changing from oh, I'm completely fine to oh, look, I'm not gonna let you speak. So my voice may be weird throughout the video, so please excuse that. But in today's video, I'm going to be talking about all of the books that I have read in the month of July. It was such a roller coaster of a ride. The major two genres that I read was mystery and fantasy. Some of the books that I read were like so insanely good. Some of the books that I read were like so not good. I actually thought I'm going to fall into a reading slump. But in all, I think these are 14 books that I read, and we're going to talk about it right now. You guys are going to get all fresh recommendations from my side. I'm going to share my love and hate, not hate, but my dislike for all of these books, and we are going to have a lot of fun giving them stars. Let's begin the video. Oh yeah, before we start, I'm going to be talking about the books in the sequence in which I read them, not in the sequence of how many stars I gave them, so do watch till the end to get all 5-star recommendations. First though, let's talk about the non-fiction book that I read this month. I've not finished it yet, but I've read a major chunk of it, and that is The Creative Act, A Way of Being by Rick Rubin. Look at that book. It looks like such an intense book because it barely has anything on the cover, and when I saw it, I was like, I need this book to change my life and make me think things, make me feel something that I have never felt before. While that did not happen on a huge scale, this book is like a well. It is so deep, and the water is so down below that you have to keep putting the bucket inside and keep going lower and lower and lower. But then once you do reach the water and you reel it back in, it is amazing. It's written in the most simplest way ever. However, it's not the kind of non-fiction book you read when you have just started reading non-fiction book. It helps you to take all of the information and everything that you may have learned from other non-fiction books and give a path to all of that so that you live a creative life. It is super intense. It is super amazing, though I will not say that oh my god, you have to go and buy this book right now. There are so many other non-fiction books that you can read first, but if you are looking for a book that is very simply written, basically statements here or there, but has a huge impact on you, and you want to read a little bit of it every morning, then this is your book. Talking about the fiction books, the first fiction book I read this month was The American Boyfriend by Ivy Meow. We have Phoebe, who is a single mother, and she has followed her American boyfriend to a place in America because she wants to escape the British winter. She wants to have some fun. She has complete faith in this new boyfriend of hers, but as you read, you come to know that she does not know her boyfriend as well as she thinks that she does. As soon as she enters America, things start going haywire. They start going crazy, and I think till 100 pages I was like, oh okay, what is going to happen? It was still building up, but then after 100 pages, everything made sense. Everything got connected with each other. There were no useless characters. There were no useless scenes, and the plot twist after plot twist after plot twist completely boggled my mind. By the end of it, I was like, how many plot twists can you have in the book? Literally till the last word. Literally till the last word, you are hooked to the book because something is happening and it is plot twisty. Super duper easy to read. It's just like 200 pages, so it's amazing for beginners. It's not released yet, but I am going to put the pre-order link in the description, and I think it's releasing on August 15th or a little before that, so you can go and check it out when it is released or place the pre-order. I gave the book 5 stars. Next time I went on a thriller binge, so all of the books that I'm going to talk about, the next 5 books, there is a reading vlog on it. You can go and check it out. I'll put the link in the description. The first book I read was The Family Upstairs by Lisa Jewell. This is my first Lisa Jewell book. The premise of this book was extremely dark, where you find a child in a kitchen and the child is completely fine, well taken care of, but when you find that baby, you also see 3 dead bodies around it. So we have no idea who was taking care of the child, what happened with the 3 dead bodies, what is going on. Once you start reading it, you come to know that it is so much more than what you know from the blurb, which is one of my most favorite things ever. When everything is given out in the blurb, it's just so annoying, but there is so much more going on in this book. There are multiple POVs, there are multiple timelines. It can get a little confusing for sure, but once you get a hang of it, it all weaves together amazingly. This is the first part of the book. The second part is already out, and I cannot wait to read it. You can read this book as a standalone, you can read it as a beginner, but I think there were a few things in this book that were not finished, which will be finished in the second part, so I'm very excited about that. I gave this book 4 stars. The next book I read was YellowFace by Rebecca F. Kuang. This is the story of June, who has a friend whose name is Athena, and they're like really good friends, but Athena has literally everything that June can think of. She has everything that June wants. She's an amazing writer. She's selling her books on Netflix and other shows. She's popular. She has the audience, and June wants all of this, and June has always been jealous of her till a point where Athena dies. And while June does help her, she also picks up one of the manuscripts that Athena has written for a book, and then June publishes that manuscript under her own name. Apart from being an amazing thriller, though it does get slow here and there, this book is more about exploring all of the themes of racism, plagiarism, everything that can go on in the publishing industry, because the backdrop of the book is a publishing industry. And it's crazy that Rebecca F. Kuang actually wrote all of these things in the book. I don't think though that it's the kind of book that you can read as a thriller. It is so much more than a thriller. I think it's meant to be savored and enjoyed and soak in the sarcasm and satire and everything from it, but it is definitely worth the hype. I gave this book 4.5 stars. Next up, I read one of the best thrillers ever. Now this is what you call a thriller, which is The Last Word by Taylor Adams. This is the story of a woman who just on a rainy day wants a good book to read, so she picks up her Kindle, she's reading a book, and then she hates the book and she leaves a 1-star review, only to find out that the author of that review has started to chase her because she gave the book a 1-star review. I love the storyline so much, but yet again the book is about so much more, and it was literally crazy. I did not have 1 second to breathe. There was some sort of thrill, some sort of craziness going on every single page. There was so much chasing, there was so much darkness, and I'm telling you, the author is sick. He is sick. So many things in the book is sick. Plus, you wouldn't expect to actually root for a main character in the book, because dark thriller books do not have likable characters in them. But in this one, you do root for a main character, Emma. She is amazing. She's dealing with her own shit. Just seeing everything that she goes through, everything she's getting over, and all of these things mixed together, it's beautiful. This one also has multiple POVs, which means multiple point of views, which is one of my most favorite things ever, because you get to see what is going on inside everybody's mind. It's not multiple POVs in a way where each chapter is from a different perspective. Within a chapter, you get to read multiple POVs. So as things are unraveling, you get to see it from 2 perspectives, the one who's chasing and the one who's being chased, and it all comes together like a movie and becomes one of the best books ever. This was such a paisa vasool experience. It's very easy to read. Even if it is huge, it will feel like an accomplishment once you're done with it, though it won't be difficult to be done with it, and you'll have the best time ever. So I highly recommend this one. I gave this book a full on 5 stars. I want to give it 4.5, but I can't do that. It's just too good. One of the plot twists, I saw it coming, so I want to reduce the star rating, but I can't. I just love it so much. 5 stars. Then after all of that thrill, I read Finlay Donovan is Killing It by El Cosimano. I'm really sorry if I'm pronouncing the name wrong. This was a gift to me on my birthday, and I am so happy to have gotten it, and I'm so happy to have read it. This is the story of Finlay Donovan, who is a single mother, has one jerk of a husband who is literally good for nothing, and she has to manage that. But along with that, she's also a writer. She's a broke writer, and she has to submit one book as soon as possible. So she meets her agent in a cafe or a restaurant, because she writes crime mystery, I guess. She is talking about the plot of her book, but somebody over there thinks that she's actually talking about an actual murder that she has completed, and then hires her as a hit woman to kill her husband. Crazy. It is a very funny book. I think Finlay Donovan obviously was the star of the book. Everything that can go wrong has gone wrong. She just has this quality of putting herself in places where things will definitely go wrong. She's always finding herself in a mess, and it's bad things after bad things after bad things, though it does talk about a lot of dark themes also, which is why I don't think it's very cozy, but it is very easy to read. I had the best time reading it. It is so short. It was a treat for me. The best part about the book though was the epilogue, because it sets us up for the second book. This is the first book in a series. I think the series has 4 books, and the epilogue had my mind blown, and now I cannot wait for the second book. Read it, you guys. This is one of the best books ever. A full on 5 stars. Last but not not the least, when I was binging on the thrillers, I read Then She Was Gone by Lisa Jewell, another Lisa Jewell book. This is the story of a woman who loses her daughter when she was very, very young, and then she moves on. 10 years later, she begins to date someone, and when she meets the daughter of that date, that daughter looks a lot, way too much like her own daughter that went missing. So we get to see what happens after that. Another amazing, dark, insanely dark book. Gruesome. It was brutal. It was horrible. Everything was so dark. This book also made me really sad, especially the epilogue of this book. Like, why would you do that to me? It's a thriller book. You're not supposed to feel that way with a thriller book. You're not supposed to feel bad about things happening. You're supposed to feel all the thrill. But I did feel very dark and sad and weirded out after I finished the book. Again, it's easy to read. Again, it's way more than the blurb itself. And again, it's a must read if you are into dark themes and dark books. I gave this one a 4.5 stars. After my mystery thriller binge, I decided to read the Cruel Prince trilogy. I was actually reading the Cruel Prince for another video, but I decided to read the entire trilogy as a separate video, so there is a vlog for this one also. You can go and check it out. I almost fell into a reading slump after reading all of these books. This is basically the story of Jude, who is a human being, but then she somehow comes into the world of fairy. Not somehow, I mean something happens. I just don't want to reveal it. And now she does not fit in the fairy world, and everybody is just so horrible to her, and the treatment she gets is just so horrible. But Jude is not the kind of person who is just going to stay in this horrible situation forever, so you get to see what she does with this horrible situation. It's called the Cruel Prince because the prince is cruel to her majorly. And then we move ahead to the Wicked King, which is the story of how Jude did get the power that she wanted, but now she has to take care of it so that it does not slip away from her again. And we get to see how she does that in this book. And then the last book is about how she becomes the queen of nothing. No, I'm kidding. Final journey of Jude, what actually happens in the end. Does she finally fit into the world of fae? First of all, I do not like the fairy world at all. I am so scared. I think Akotar is in the fairy world. I have to see. And I did not like these books at all, so I don't know if I'm going to like fairies or not, because I did not in this book. Second of all, I don't like how short these books are. I think that there were so many amazing plot points and stories, and so many amazing things could happen. I liked a couple of characters too, and I loved Jude so much. So this was more like potential, but the books are so small, you don't actually get to explore anything. Thirdly, I felt no emotional connection to anyone except Jude a little bit, and in the end, I just did not like it at all. If I did have to talk about the best book, I would talk about The Queen of Nothing. It was the best book because things were happening, but in all, it was a repetitive series. Did not find anything amazing. I was looking for the romance. The romance is literally 1%, and you don't even get to see the build up of all of it, which I don't like at all. There was just so many things I did not like about this book. It's just so annoying. However, I did see the potential, and the endings of all of the books were really good, so I am giving the entire series a 2 star. 2 stars for the whole series on an average. After reading that entire series, I was so scared that I'm going to fall into a slump that I turned to the author who I know will save me from a slump, who has saved me from a slump earlier, and that author is none other than Taylor Jenkins Reid. And I read One True Love. Picked up this book thinking that I'll read it for like a couple of days. Because I was reading those 3 books so fast, I wanted it to be slow paced. I wanted to take my time with the next book. I picked up the book and I finished it in 4 hours. 4 hours. This is the story of a woman who gets married and then she loses her husband in the helicopter accident, and then years later she starts dating somebody else. But when they're on the verge of getting married, she comes to know that her husband who died in the helicopter crash is not actually dead. He has come back, and then you get to see what happens with this trio. It was such a treat. I've been wanting to read this book since so long, since I got all of the Taylor Jenkins books. Now I do have to say that this is the entire plot. Nothing else crazy happens in the book, which was the only negative point of the book. But apart from that, it is such an amazing book. All of the feelings have been described in such a beautiful way. For example, what it feels like to be hurt, what it feels like to be in love. If you were to imagine what it felt like in your body, I highlighted so many parts of this book. Usually when there's a trio, you are rooting for one of the guys to win, but I was not. I liked both of the guys so much, and I did not know who she's gonna end up with. So in all, it was an amazing book. Super duper easy to read, though not the best Taylor Jenkins Reid book ever, and I gave it a 4 star. I just do want to say though that it had me clutching my heart and turning the pages so quickly just because I wanted to know what is going to happen, and it had me hooked throughout the book. Even though I wanted to see who she ends up with, and I did like who she ends up with, there was not 1 second of the book where I was like, okay fine, you know what, like just like skip to the end, because I was enjoying the entire story so much. Next up, I read I'm a Fan by Sheena Patel. I picked this up because it's such a short read and I wanted to read something short and quick and move on, something that makes me feel a little weird, because I was expecting this book to make me feel weird. Look at the cover, you look at it and you're like, oh my god, you're gonna feel weird. This is a story of a woman and she has a man that she wants to be with. She calls him as the man who she wants to be with, and then there's this woman who is with the man she wants to be with, and she calls her the woman I am obsessed with, and you see how the story unravels from there. Now this book is 200 pages, which is not less, but it's also really small. Look at that, it's small and it's short, but it is a crazy book. It is a crazy book. The things that I read, some chapters in the middle where you get into the mind of our narrator, how she thinks, what has happened with her, what are her views on different aspects of the world. She's a stalker, for God's sake, and she is not a likable character. But when I read all of those thoughts and the way she thought, I had chills. I literally had chills in so many places, and I did not expect a stalker, an unlikable character, to say so many things that just made me feel stumped, that made me shut up, and that too in such few words. It has super duper short chapters, so again I read it in one sitting, because if you go ahead with the one more chapter, just one more chapter, you keep flying through the book. The reason for the title, I'm a Fan, and the way she thinks and the way she feels, that character is going to stay with me in my mind forever, literally forever. It is definitely worth a read if you are the kind of person who likes to get into the mind of grey characters, of non-likable characters, but them saying things that will take you, like sweep you off your feet, not in a lovely way but like in a shocked way. And even though it is not a thriller, it gets dark, also it gets sensual, it gets nasty, and it gets crazy. I wouldn't recommend this book to beginners because the timelines kept changing without any information, and it will be a little difficult for you to dive into it if you're a beginner. But if you're an avid reader and you're looking for something to shake it up for you, and you're looking for a book that is different from all of the books that you have ever read, this is your book. And last but not the least, I read the 6 of Crows Duology. This one is also going to be a video because I vlogged my experience. Oh yeah, I gave this book 4 stars. This series has to be a 6-star series, and I feel blessed to have these editions. I was shocked as to how much I like this series. After reading the Cruel Prince trilogy, I don't know what got over me that I went into another fantasy series, even though there were high chances that I won't like it because I just came out of a fantasy experience that I did not like. Then why did I start reading this series? That is how I felt for like 150 pages of 6 of Crows. The words in this, the places, the names of the characters, they're so difficult to pronounce, and I have not read the Shadow and Bone series, and it is recommended that you read the Shadow and Bone series and then get into this, because then it will be easier for you to read. So I was like, oh my god, this is a completely wrong choice. I shouldn't have done this. But after like 150-200 pages of this book, nothing, and by that I mean nothing, could stop me. I have read the series with so much passion, so much liking, so much intensity, because I love each and every character in the book. I love all of the relationships. It is so deep. There are badasses, there is vulnerability, there is an amazing plot, and the romance is just out of the world. Now this is how you build up a book. Okay, this is the first book and I loved it so much, and then I went on ahead to Crooked Kingdom and I loved this even more because this one dives deeper into Ketterdam, which is the world that is built in the 6 of Crows, and it dives deeper into the characters. You can say that this is actually one book, but because I think she did not want to publish 1,000 pages book, she made it into 2 parts, and I love her for that. Leigh Bardugo is my goddess because of this series. Loved it so much. In this book, the 6 of Crows, which is a found family, and found family means people come together, so 6 people come together from different backgrounds and they go for a heist for a very huge amount of money. But when you read the book, you realize that the stakes are higher than just money, and then the ending of the book is crazy, and it is sort of continued in this book, which I can't talk about this book at all. Actually, what this book is about is just like a continuation of what happened in this book. For around 100 to 150 pages of this book, I did feel that like it is a little slow, but after 150 pages again it picks up pace and it becomes amazing, and then a proper plan also comes into view and it's amazing. The pacing was so good. I love it. I love this series. It's a 6-star series. It's a must read for everyone. If you're a beginner, it's going to take a lot of time for you to get used to all of the names, the entire city, but if you do invest into it, it won't leave you unsatisfied. It's worth the investment of money, of time, of everything. I love this. And with that, we come towards the end of the video. These were all of the books that I read in the month of July. I really hope you got at least one recommendation out of it. I'm so sorry for my voice, and I'll see you guys again very soon. Bye.